Devin Townsend. When mass murder is committed, someone must pay. And last night, someone did. Tickets for Thursday's Democratic Party fundraiser featuring our president went for $32 grand. Is it wrong to sigh? After Benghazi, it was off to a fundraiser. Amid the border mess, it was off to a fundraiser. After this attack, well, you see the trend. It's his comfort zone, campaigning. It's emotional, insubstantial, and driven by sloganeering. It's the opposite of governance, which is hard, substantial, and driven by tough choices. The attack shouldn't be a chance for a blowhard like me to jab the president, but why does he make it so easy? It's a leadership style where the choices are so weird, even libs wonder where his head is at. Even Josh Groban and Piers Morgan are scratching their puffy noggins. You know it's bad. If he's playing it cool, or is he not playing it at all, I don't know. Sometimes he's like a teen retreating to his room with his comic books. As he claims nothing is definitive, separatists might have the black box. Why not demand its return? For all we know, it's now with Snowden. Something tells me he won't leak that. So as France sells 2 assault ships to Russia, our foreign policy seems predicated on not rocking any boats. We don't want our guy to declare World War III, but it would be nice if we knew he was driving with at least one hand on the wheel. The bear may be loose, but for now, it's Winnie the Pooh. All right, Bob. I think that was fair. I'm not shaming him. I'm trying to coach him. Do you think he should have skipped the fundraiser?
I think he should have skipped the fundraiser. I mean, I'll say this: this election is crucial for Democrats, and we're way behind right now, and it needs a lot of money. So these things at $32,000 a pop don't happen very often, but that's not an excuse for not moving the thing. But leaving that aside, I think what do people expect him to do? You know, this notion that somehow he should just could close ranks, go to the Situation Room, and sit there and do what?
But
well, all
that's
to do is ask. No, it's not the president's
presidential.
Job. It is
Review
not
reports.
Wait. It's not the president's job to go to the Situation Room over something he could do nothing about. He can't do anything about a downed aircraft in Ukraine.
But that's so inaccurate.
He can't do something for.
Because guess what? You sit down and
the ambulance and go.
You want to hear? You want to hear?
Go ahead.
Right, because he shouldn't be out worrying about whether or not his party has enough, change and biscotti to win the next election. He should be sitting at the table with National Security Council members and getting information, real-time updates about exactly what happened, what's going on, because he's the president of the United States.
You don't think he's getting real-time updates when he's on Air Force One?
No, I think when he's greeting people and doing photo ops, it's actually a distraction. His head then is not in the game, and he's not getting those updates while he's talking to donors.
Well, he got those updates all through the night last night. But leaving that aside, I said at the beginning, I didn't think he should be going to a fundraiser. I think that was not good cosmetic. But I don't think that the idea that somehow he's going to be able to do something about it any more than anybody else can do anything about what's going on in Gaza.
Eric, here's a question to defend the president. Does he stick to the schedule as part of a philosophy of representing business as usual so people aren't worried and in a panic? So he says, hey, if I'm going about my regular day, so should you.
Well, you know how yesterday we were supposed to be on at 5 o'clock, but we weren't because something came up, and Fox was smart enough to say, you know what, something came up, Shep will sit in the seat, and they did what they were supposed to do. Stuff comes up, and when you're president, maybe you don't stick to the script. When Benghazi happens, maybe you don't go to Vegas. When, I don't know, Russia annexes Crimea, you don't go to do 2 fundraisers. When the VA scandal breaks, you do 2 in Chicago that night. And then the big one, when the border is literally being flooded with illegals, you go to the border, but you don't go to the border. You go to 2 fundraisers, and you drink beer and play pool. The man has checked out, Bob. As much as you like him, he's not playing president anymore. He's playing future ex-president right now, and he's arranging a lot of
he's trying to hold on to the Congress.
He's putting a lot of his ducks in row for when he's
trying to hold on to the United States Senate, and it's very difficult to do it. But if I were him, I'd do everything I could to get that done, because that's going to determine his next 2 years.
Yeah, but the politics shouldn't be around here in this particular issue. Andrea, he's no drama Obama. That was like the thing that made him so cool. That positive is now a negative, wouldn't you say?
It's definitely a negative. Why does it always have to be about him? I mean, Bob says he has to hold on to the Senate because then he'll have a bad upcoming 2 years. Well, guess what? We should all hold our breath, because it's going to be a really bad next 2 years for everybody else in the country. You said you're trying to coach him. Greg, I just think he's uncoachable. I mean, Bob says, what do you expect him to do? I'll tell you what I expect him not to do. I expect him to not have open mic deals done about flexibility after elections. I expect him to not impose weak sanctions on Russia. I expect him to not try and disarm our nuclear defenses. I expect him to encourage Ukraine to join NATO so they can be stronger. And I also expect him to be strong. I mean, look, if he can't enforce our own borders, he's not going to be able to enforce the borders of other countries. So you know what I say? Good. Let him go. I would much rather have him not playing in hard cities where real armies can march. Let him call gay athletes. Let him do war on women press conferences. Let him talk about birth control and infrastructure. I don't want him playing on a global stage because he's going to muddle it and mess it up. So everybody hold your nose and hang on.
The largest cut in American nuclear forces was done by Ronald Reagan. Just let's make that clear. The largest single cut in our nuclear warheads was by Ronald Reagan.
Bottom line, the only way that Putin's in any danger from Obama is Putin's blocking the door to a fundraiser that Obama's late to get to. Otherwise, he's clear.
All right, ahead on the 5. A passenger plane has just been shot down, and the State Department didn't think to put it at the top of its agenda. That didn't sit well with Shep, who was on air at the time of the briefing. You'll hear what he had to say about it next.